It's been 2 years since the last time playoff baseball was played on Cape Cod. The very last playoff game in 2019 was a 10-3 victory for the Cotuit Kettleers to deliver their 17th league championship. The team they beat were these very Harwich Mariners who take the field today. While the roster is overturned, the organizational goal has remained the same from top to bottom. Come back and make another run at the Cape Cod Baseball League Championship. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Foley and Colin Casey along with you here today for Game 1 of the 2021 Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs. Colin, it's an exciting game here today, exciting time to be at the ballpark. When we're looking at this Mariners team, you know, Steve Englert has put in a lot of work in the 2 years since Harwich has been in the playoffs, helping to create a Mariners team that has had one of the best batting lineups in the league this season. That has helped this team to clinch one of the 2 playoff spots in the East with an overall record of 19-12-5. This is the best finish for manager Steve Englert's squad since claiming the division title back in 2016. And for Brewster, the 1 seed in the East, they finished with a record of 22-11-3 to go along with their first division title since 2003. A time where most of the players who now don the navy and teal were just learning how to properly hold a bat. So Colin, a matchup today that really, at times during the season, seemed inevitable. I mean, Brewster and Harwich, 2 of the hottest teams in the East throughout the season. They showed a lot of flashes, showed a lot of consistency as well, and it should be an excellent playoff series between 2 teams that have had a couple of ball games throughout this season.
They certainly have, and for Harwich, they're going to have to exercise some demons. 0-3 this season here at Stony Brook Field. Can't get much of a better time than to win your first game on the road against Brewster than right now.
And so here we are, first pitch moments away now in Game 1 of the 2021 East Division Championship Series between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Harwich Mariners. The first pitch from the lefty for Brewster, Brian Fitzpatrick, misses for a ball. Let's introduce you to the Harwich Mariners starting lineup. Leadoff man today for Harwich is number 29, the left fielder, Press Kavanaugh. Batting second, the catcher, Tatum Levens. Batting third baseman, Brock Wilkin. Hitting cleanup, the first baseman, Dylan Phillips. Hitting fifth, the designated hitter, Carter Butts. Hitting sixth, the center fielder, Chris Newell. Batting seventh, the shortstop, Zach Preisner. Batting eighth, the right fielder, Jordan Beck. And batting ninth, the second baseman, Max Codier. Fitzpatrick's 1-1 pitch is fouled off here by Kavanaugh.
And Fitzpatrick has some experience against this Mariners team. Remember, he came in relief the first time Harwich came to White House Field. He replaced Harrison Rutkowski. Those 2 pitched an outstanding 9 innings against the Mariners.
Fitzpatrick, as he delivers the 1-2 pitch outside, 2-2. Fitzpatrick in that outing went 3 complete innings, did not give up a run, just 1 hit, and recorded the save across 3 innings in what, like you said, Colin, was an excellent effort for the Whitecaps. 2-2 pitch fouled off by Kavanaugh. Let's take a moment to set the Brewster defense for you. Starting catcher today for the Brewster Whitecaps, Curtis Byrne. The infield from right to left looks like this. Jake Thompson at first, Trey Faltini at second, Zach Neto back in the lineup. He'll be at shortstop. Tony Bullard at third, Chad Castillo in left, Spencer Jones in center, and Chris Lanzilli in right as Press Kavanaugh goes down swinging. First batter up for the Mariners is first batter down. This will bring up Tatum Levens.
Yeah, Kavanaugh fooled really badly on that 2-2 pitch. Fitzpatrick taking a lot of speed off that off-speed pitch, and Kavanaugh was clearly sitting fastball. Certainly didn't get one.
81 degrees here at Stony Brook Elementary. Not a cloud in sight. A beautiful day for baseball here to open up the playoffs. First pitch to Levens is in for a called strike. And, you know, a beautiful day for baseball after we had a couple of days where the weather wasn't so nice, considering how Wednesday's season finale was rained out across the league. 0-1 pitch, a big swing and a miss from Tatum Levens. And so that's one of the things that likely favors all the playoff teams when you think about it when it comes to trying to save arms, because everyone who would have gone on Wednesday is now ready for you on Friday. Fitzpatrick winds up, delivers. 0-2 pitch misses down low.
Every day of rest important, but especially important when playoffs this year are so condensed. I mean, they're trying to get this playoff run done within a week, and A week's not a lot of time to get your arms fresh.
Certainly not. Anybody who plays today, you may see them should there be a second playoff series for either team. And Tatum Levens goes down swinging. It's back-to-back strikeouts to open up the game for Brian Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick dealing so far here as he will face off now against the third baseman, Brock Wilken.
And this is the MO for Fitzpatrick. 24 strikeouts compared to just 3 walks in the regular season. So much like his opposition in Trey Dombrowski, a lot of strikeouts, not a lot of base on balls.
Yeah, we have seen some serious numbers this season from Dombrowski. We'll go over them a bit more as his inning comes around. In the meantime, first pitch to Brock Wilken is going to be skied up. This one drifting out towards right. First baseman Jake Thompson charging. That ball's going to drop in the triangle between second, first, and right. So Brock Wilkins on with a bloop shot that lands just along that first base foul line. 1 on with 2 out.
Doesn't matter how hard you hit it. Not the hardest hit ball that Brock Wilkins had all summer long, but just able to drop it inside the right field line. Trey Faltini had to run a long ways from second and just couldn't quite get there in time. Fell in between the Bermuda Triangle between first, second, and right field.
And that's what you want to see if you're Harwich, somebody getting on early, because that's been a struggle here at Stony Brook is getting anybody on base. They were shut out through the first 2 games, only 3 base runners in that very first game that Fitzpatrick appeared in. First pitch to the man they affectionately call Whammer in Dylan Phillips is a strike. Phillips could not connect with it. Mariners wearing their navy blues with red numbering and a white trim with the gray pants, blue pinstripe. White caps in their white tops, white bottoms with the teal sleeves, wearing the camo caps today. It's a 1-1 count here to Phillips as the next pitch misses up high. Umpires as well for you here today. 4 umpires in the playoffs. John Patala behind home, Mike Beal at first, David Perry at second, and Joseph Peters at third. 1-1 pitch on the way. Phillips gets a piece of it, sends it back into the mitt of Curtis Byrne. Count now 1-2 on Phillips.
And Phillips, one of the few Harwich Mariners in this lineup to have a big hit against this Brewster pitching staff. Remember, he had that 2-run home run in the top of the 8th to give his team the lead in the last meeting here at Stony Brook Field. But, of course, Brewster roaring back in the bottom half of that 8th inning.
That's something that they've done time and time again down the stretch here, has come back as Phillips goes around on a ball in the dirt. That's strike 3. 3 strikeouts and just 1 hit given up by Brian Fitzpatrick in the opening frame here. We head now to the bottom of the first inning in just a moment. It's a scoreless game from Stony Brook Field. We'll be back. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into Stony Brook Field here. Tim Foley, Colin Casey along with you for the first round of the Cape Cod Baseball League 2021 playoffs. As Brewster now coming up to bat in the home half of the first inning. Let's take a moment to introduce you to their starting lineup. Batting first, the center fielder Spencer Jones. Hitting second, the shortstop Zach Neto. Batting third, the third baseman Tony Bullard. Hitting cleanup, the first baseman Jake Thompson. Hitting fifth, the right fielder Chris Lanzilli. Batting sixth, the left fielder Chad Castillo. Batting seventh, the catcher Curtis Byrne. Batting eighth, the designated hitter Will Simpson. And batting ninth, the second baseman Trey Faltini. First pitch to Jones was fouled off. Count opens up here at 0-1. On the mound today for the Harwich Mariners, Trey Dombrowski, the big lefty out of Monmouth, as his 0-1 pitch in for a called strike. Ahead in the count 0-2 here on Spencer Jones. Dombrowski has been making his case for Cape Cod Baseball League Pitcher of the Year. He already secured the Harwich Mariners Pitcher of the Year accolade in their last home game, as Jones breaks the bat, hits a bloop shot over to Preisner at short, and there's one away in the bottom of the first.
A great start there from Dombrowski. Didn't get the strikeout, but went right after Spencer Jones, who's been giving the Mariners trouble all season long. Starts him off with a couple of strikes and then just jams him with the 0-2 fastball. Jones can't get his hands around. Soft line drive right at Preisner for an easy out, number one.
And that's part of Dombrowski's game, is that, yes, while his strikeout numbers are high, striking people out compared to his walks at an unbelievable clip of 45-2. One of the best in the league this season. Also boasting an ERA of .85. That's really part of his game, is that he'll get people to ground out, he'll play to contact, he'll trust his defense, and he'll also know how to put guys away with a sneaky pitch. It's an 0-1 count here to Zach Neto, who's back in the lineup for the first time today since mid-July for the Brewster Whitecaps. Went down in a game against the Chatham Anglers, and today making his return. Neto, before he went down, was batting a cool .303 for the Brewster Whitecaps. He was a huge part of helping to lead this team early on. As the 1-1 pitch comes in from Dombrowski, it's hit on the ground, right back to Dombrowski. He'll walk over to Phillips, little underhand flip, 2 away in the bottom of the first.
And Neto hasn't had a lot of success at the plate against the Mariners this season, just 1 for 6, but what he really excels at is defense. There's that one game at Stony Brook Field earlier on in the season where it seemed like he made 8 or 9 plays by himself at shortstop. Incredible range. Question is, how is that leg holding up? That's a big thing that's been bothering him.
There was no doubt that the Mariners were seeing Zach Neto in their sleep that night. He was all over them in that matchup with the Mariners here at Stony Brook Field. And that's going to be the big question today, is how he holds up defensively, as you alluded to there, Colin, because when you think about the impact he has in the field, it's even bigger than what he was able to bring to the plate while batting .303. As it counts 1-0 here to Tony Bullard. Second pitch is in for a called strike, now 1-1.
We call that the Ozzie Smith special. Not the best bat, but can hit for a little bit of contact and make outstanding plays over at short.
As this ball is going to be hit on a line foul down the first base line. Count now 1-2.
Trey not messing around, going right after these Whitecaps hitters, and shouldn't be surprised. That's been his approach all season long. The YD Red Sox saw it a lot with him making 3 appearances against them this season.
Yeah, he was all over YD this season. As the 1-2 pitch is fouled up and out of play. Dombrowski, in each of his starts against YD, had 10 strikeouts against them in 3 2/3 the first time he faced them, 9 strikeouts against them the second time after going 7 innings, and then 9 strikeouts again in just 6 innings the third time he faced off against the YD Red Sox. The 1-2 pitch is caught by Dylan Phillips as a little bloop shot over to first. Couple of bloopers in the infield and no damage done by the Brewster Whitecaps. 1-2-3, down they go. We head now to the top of the second inning. Still a 0-0 game from Stony Brook Field. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to Stony Brook Field here in lovely Brewster, Massachusetts. Brian Fitzpatrick back on the mound for his second inning of work. Looked very good in that first inning. Struck out Kavanaugh, Levens, did give up a bloop shot over along that first base line to Brock Wilkin, but then struck out Dylan Phillips. So 3 strikeouts in the first inning. And now working on his next set of batters. It'll be Carter Putz, who's leading off here for the Mariners in the top half of the inning. He offers at the first pitch and misses. It's 0-1.
Yeah, Putz looking to turn around what's been a rough season at the plate against this Whitecaps team. Just 3 for 20.
A big swing and a miss from Putz once again, and he falls behind 0-2.
7 strikeouts also, so he's found himself in these 0-2 counts a lot. Looking to avoid strikeout number 8 against Brewster this year.
As the 0-2 pitch comes in. Broken bat, that's going to get over the shortstop's head and into the outfield. Carter Putz on with a leadoff single.
Tell you what, Tim, we have not seen some great contact throughout this game early on. All the outs that Trey Dombrowski recorded, softly hit balls. Even Brock Wilkins hit in the first half of the inning, in the top half of the first. Not hit all that hard. And that one, Carter Putz breaks his bat, just able to flare it over Neto's head at short. Mariners have the leadoff man on.
So now in steps Chris Newell. Newell looking to drive his teammate in Carter Putz around the bases. First pitch from Fitzpatrick's fouled back. Counts 0-1. Newell on the season for the Mariners. Playing out of Virginia, batting a cool .250. With 13 runs, he's been one of the biggest power threats this season for Harwich with 5 home runs. Just 1 home run behind Brock Wilkin, and this is despite coming in to the season later than Brock Wilkin and actually missing a good stretch of games about mid-season as Putz dives back to first base, gets the laundry dirty, but stays safe nonetheless.
Yeah, for a good 10-day stretch before he suffered an injury at YD, Chris Newell was the hottest hitter in all of the CCBL with how many home runs he was belting.
0-1 pitch misses up high, now 1-1. It's important for Harwich to have that through and through this lineup, and it's something that they've really done an excellent job of all season long. One of the best hitting teams across the Cape, top 5 in each slugging, on-base percentage, as well as just batting average in general. As Newell hits one on the ground, that gets through the right side. Carter Putz is going to dig for third. Chris Newell holds at first. And the Mariners, with nobody away, have runners on the corners here for Zach Preisner.
Some excellent heads-up base running there from Carter Putz. He knew that ball was going to die on the outfield grass once it got through the infield, and he didn't hesitate. He rounded second and went into third safely. The throw very late. This is what the Mariners have been lacking all season long here at Stony Brook Field, getting to these Brewster Whitecaps starting pitchers on the road. We've seen them get to the bullpen a little bit, not the starters. Very refreshing to see if you're Steve Englert in that Mariners dugout.
So now in steps Zach Preisner, undoubtedly the best hitter as of late for the Mariners. Across his past 8 games played, has been batting a cool .500. 13 for 26 with 10 runs, 4 RBI, and a home run to boot. I mean, it's really been so impressive to see the emergence of Zach Preisner after the slow start he had at the plate. 1-0 pitch is in for a called strike, now 1-1.
And he's also one of the few hitters in this lineup, Tim, to have success against Brewster this season. 5 for 9 with 3 runs driven in, and he finds himself in a big RBI spot with nobody out in the second.
Of course, had himself that big 4-for-4 game last time Harwich and Brewster faced off. Came around to score 3 times as well back on that day. Had a walk as well, so got on 5 times. Chris Newell goes for second, throw down to the bag is not in time. And that's now 2 in scoring position here. And the Mariners are threatening early in this one. Trying to get the first run of the game here in the top of the second inning.
Beating the Whitecaps at their own game. We know this is the most aggressive base running team here in Brewster, and Steve Englert deciding, you know what, we can run too. We're going to do it early and often, and Newell's into second safely.
Harwich now with 48 steals on the season. That's good for 3rd in the league, and it wasn't really their strategy to start the year off as the 2-1 pitch misses outside. Zach Preisner trying to draw a walk to load the bases. It really was not the Mariners' strategy early on to try and steal bases. I think as Coach Englert was still feeling guys out, seeing who had what speed, he really didn't want to push that all too much. But Brewster, all season long, they've been firing on all cylinders, and it's going to be a game of small ball at times today. 3-1 pitch. Zach Preisner thought it missed, took a step towards first, but he'll have to step back into the batter's box. It's a full count.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick able to locate that fastball right on the inside corner. This would be a huge strikeout if he could pick it up. Wonder if Brewster would still try to cut down that runner at the plate, or they might just try to limit the damage. But nevertheless, huge pitch coming for the Whitecaps.
The infield is in here for the Whitecaps. Full count pitch, fouled straight back by Preisner.
One great thing we've seen from Preisner over this hot stretch he's had is hasn't struck out nearly as much as he did the first month he spent with the Mariners. He's been able to extend the at-bat and draw those walks. We'll see if he's able to do so here.
And you certainly have to attribute it to a lot of this team mentality that the Mariners have at the plate. As Preisner's caught reaching on the 3-2, he goes down swinging. That's strikeout number 4 for Brian Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Preisner not expecting the off-speed with a payoff pitch, a must-strike situation. Fitzpatrick able to get him to chase. A huge out for the Whitecaps. But they still keep the infield in, so they're still content with trying to gun down the opening run at the plate.
Once again for you, Carter Putz is standing on third. Chris Newell is at second. They each got there with singles, and then Chris Newell stole second base. So now Jordan Beck steps in. First pitch to him, misses inside. Count opens up at 1-0. Beck, so far on the season for the Mariners, he's been picking it up, batting .267 across 90 at-bats, 4 doubles, does have a triple. One of the few Mariners in this roster to have a triple, 2 home runs as well. Across his last 9 games, he has been picking it up here for Harwich after what felt like a slump in his Mariners debut. Like really, it took a while for him to get going, but once that slugfest out in Hyannis over at McKeon Park happened, after Beck had a great day at the plate then, he really feels like he's been seeing the ball a lot better. Hitting .303 across his last 9 games, 5 runs, 3 RBI, and a home run. It's a 1-1 count here. The pitch. Called strike 2.
Beck thought that one was outside, and Fitzpatrick, to his credit, has that strikeout pitch working, and what better position to be in than second and third and needing a strikeout pitch. This is a guy who thrives on that situation.
So Putz on third, Newell on second, Preisner at the dish. Wind is blowing out to left field. Fitzpatrick stares back at second, comes set and delivers. Ball skips in the dirt, catches the leg of home plate umpire John Patala, and that ball stops just behind home plate. Could have had a chance to get further away from home, and at that point, who's to say whether or not Carter Putz would have made an attempt at it, but disaster avoided there for the Whitecaps as the ball stays within reach of Curtis Byrd.
It didn't have to go far. Looked straight back. I don't know if he saw it at first and then looked straight down and was able to gather it in relatively quickly.
It's a 2-2 count here to Beck. Max Codier standing on deck. The pitch. Reaching strike 3. That is 5 strikeouts for Brian Fitzpatrick. Each of them have been swinging, and the lefty's trying to get himself out of the jam.
Really impressive clutch pitching right now from Fitzpatrick. That's what you need in the postseason. Puts himself in a bad spot, gives up a couple of singles, and says, you know what? I'm able to bounce back. I've got my strikeout pitch working, and he's gotten all 5 of his outs on his own so far.
Has given up 3 singles as well, so has not been immune to contact, although as you mentioned earlier, Colin, not the greatest contact so far. I'd say the best hit for the Mariners so far today was Chris Newell belting one through the right side to get into the outfield. First pitch to Max Codier is in for a called strike, and we talk about guys who have been performing well down the stretch for these Mariners. You can put Max Codier as well in that category across his last 6 games. Again, hitting .250, which is been a big addition down the stretch to have a guy in the back of the lineup who's good for some contact every now and then. 0-1 pitch hit on the ground. That'll just go foul down the first base line. Count now 0-2 here. Fitzpatrick a pitch away from getting himself out of the jam. Carter Putz is on third. Chris Newell's on second. They each got there with no outs, but since then, Zach Preisner and Jordan Beck each going down on strikeouts. Max Codier looking to avoid the same fate. Fitzpatrick comes set. And the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. Brian Fitzpatrick lets up 2 singles to open up the inning, but strikes out back-to-back-to-back batters to get himself out of the runners in scoring position jam. It is still scoreless here from Stony Brook. We head to the bottom of the second inning in just a moment. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into Stony Brook Field here. Leading it off for the Brewster Whitecaps in the bottom of the second. Jake Thompson will lead it off. We'll also see Chris Lanzilli and Chad Castillo due up in this inning. Trey Dombrowski back on the mound for his second inning of work. Got the first 3 batters he faced to sit down. 1, 2, 3. Looking to replicate that effort here. First pitch is a called strike on the outside part of the plate.
And the interesting matchup with Dombrowski versus Brewster lineup, one thing that Mariners pitchers have had trouble with against the Whitecaps, keeping the ball in the ballpark. Nobody does it better than Dombrowski.
As Thompson swings on the next pitch and misses. 0-2 now.
5 home runs up and down this lineup. Nobody's had more than 1, so it's a really balanced power attack for this Whitecaps lineup.
0-2 pitch. It was down low. Dombrowski tried to get him to bite. Jake Thompson's able to hold off. It's 1-2.
And Thompson especially has had success. Of course, he does have the home run, a 3-run bomb against the Mariners earlier in the season.
He has been an excellent hitter for Brewster this season as he checks off the 1-2 pitch towards the Whitecaps dugout. Count stays at 1-2. So far this season for the Whitecaps, Thompson been batting .278. 18 RBI. That is tied for the team lead along with Spencer Jones out of Vanderbilt. Not too often you see a leadoff guy in Jones be one of the team leaders in RBI. Ball hit on the ground right at Codier. Plays it on a hop. Throw over to first is in time. 1 down here in the bottom of the second.
Another softly hit ball generated there from Dombrowski. That's what's so impressive about him. He doesn't throw that hard, but he's able to rack up the strikeout numbers. And on top of that, even when you're able to make contact, it's usually not stung pretty well and certainly makes it easier on your defense when you're not having to run down balls in the gap.
And Dombrowski has first pitch swing and a miss on Chris Lanzilli. He just does everything right. Nothing but praise coming from this Mariners coaching staff, and in particular pitching coach Steve Gruenberg. As the 0-1 pitch comes in, Lanzilli hits it on a line to Brock Wilkin. Wilkin snags that one and says, "How do you do, fellow Demon Deacon?" Count now is clear, and Chad Castillo comes up to bat.
All right, I'll concede that one was hit hard. Right at Wilkin, though, as Lanzilli couldn't quite get it past his former college teammate. And at the very least, it's a quick start to the inning for Dombrowski. Really efficient, which is, again, part of his MO. He works quickly and doesn't throw a whole lot of pitches, especially early on in the game.
Had two of the most efficient starts on the Cape this season, Trey Dombrowski did. Threw about 85 pitches in his start against YD back on July 8th, went 7 innings, and then a similar figure, mid-80s, against Falmouth in his last start on July 28th, again going 7 innings, allowing just 1 run. Was not even earned. Again, Dombrowski with the lowest ERA on the Cape this season, .85.
And we're talking about a guy who didn't have a whole lot of expectations to become the ace of this Mariners pitching staff, yet here he is pitching in the playoffs for them.
1-1 pitch is skied out to left field. This one going back. That'll be caught by Press Kavanaugh out in left. Another scoreless inning. We head now to the top of the third. Still 0-0. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into playoff baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tim Foley, Colin Casey alongside with you as we are back to the top of the order here for the Harwich Mariners. Press Kavanaugh leads it off. He'll be followed by Tatum Levins and Brock Wilkin. Brian Fitzpatrick back on the mound for his third inning of work, and despite giving up 3 hits, as this one's going to be on the ground over to first. Kavanaugh, he's going to beat out the run to the bag. It was a ball hit to Thompson as he flipped it over to Fitzpatrick, but Press Kavanaugh able to outpace Fitzpatrick, who was running over at a lanky 6-7, and the leadoff man is on for the Mariners.
Talk about someone who never quits on a ground ball to the right side of the infield's Press Kavanaugh. Saw an opportunity to beat that out, and boy, did he take it, beating Fitzpatrick to the bag. It was a close play, but once again, Harwich has a leadoff man on.
And Tatum Levins comes up to bat now for the Mariners. And to take a moment to talk about Kavanaugh again, as he is checked on over at first. Kavanaugh finishing second this season in the Cape Cod Baseball League in batting average. Had a batting average finishing at 333 behind just one Clark Elliott of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And Kavanaugh, one of the best guys who that really could happen to, as this ball's fouled off. Put in work all season long, came in, was humble about it all year long, did not really say too much of a word about how well he was hitting all that much to anybody. And going into the final 2 days of the season, he was one of the guys who was in the race for that batting title as Kavanaugh's caught out on a pickoff attempt. Sliding into second, the tag is applied, and he is caught on the base paths. One away now, nobody on.
That'll happen. We got a lefty on the mound. Fitzpatrick has an excellent pickoff move, and he had Kavanaugh leaning. Kavanaugh committed to going to second, and he was just a dead duck out there. Hate to see runners getting caught, especially the leadoff runner. That's one thing that the Mariners have had trouble with all season long.
Yeah, Harwich has been getting caught out time and time again, it feels like, recently. And it's especially frustrating, you have to imagine, for Harwich, considering how last inning went. You had Carter Putz and Chris Newell each get on with singles to open up the inning. But then back-to-back-to-back strikeouts to retire the side as Levens hits a hard ball over to Neto. He'll field it. Throw on to first is in time. Now 2 away in the top of the third.
Was there ever any question once that ball was hitting Neto's vicinity? I mean, that was an easy backhand. He hasn't missed a step at shortstop, making it look easy on such a hard hit ball from Levens. And the complexion of this inning changed really quickly, Tim.
It really did. You started from having the leadoff man on after a tight race down to the bag to give your team some momentum, but then having him get caught out and then a hard hit ball to Zach Neto over at short. And you can't say enough about what it means to have Zach Neto back in this lineup if you're the Brewster Whitecaps, as Brock Wilkin takes the first pitch outside for a ball. This season for Brewster, between Freeland and Faltini, the shortstop position has been fielding about .857, but with Neto in the lineup, shortstop has been fielding .912. 5 errors between Freeland and Faltini, 5 errors as well for Zach Neto, but Neto on more chances. He has been stout over at short on a lot of hard hit balls and picking up right where he left off here today. It's a 2-0 count to Brock Wilkin. The pitch. Big swing and a miss from Brock Wilkin. Count now 2-1.
Defense is really the unsung hero here on the Cape League. Every year at the end of the year, usually the two teams standing at the end are two of the better defensive teams. We've seen it time and time again.
The 2-1 pitch. That's going to miss up high. Count now 3-1. And when you consider the teams that are left, when you look at their fielding percentages, it goes like this. Wareham actually atop the league in fielding percentage. Then it goes Orleans, and then you have the Bourne Braves at .971. A 3-1 pitch to Brock Wilkin. That will miss ball 4. So Brock Wilkin able to get on base for the second time today. This will bring up Dylan Phillips.
It's hard to count the games where Brock Wilkin hasn't drawn a walk. I mean, we talk about him struggling with the strikeout numbers a little bit, but he really makes up for it with the amount of walks he draws. I mean, he'll find a way to get on base every single game, even when he's not swinging a great bat. Great job there drawing a 2-out walk.
Leads the league in walks with 26 on the season. Dylan Phillips has to duck out of the way of the first pitch he sees. It's a 1-0 count. So back to the fielding percentages. You have Bourne in third. Then you have Harwich in fourth at .969. Brewster actually closer towards the bottom. It's .967. Not that much of a difference between the Mariners and the Whitecaps. They are 8th in the league. And Katuitt, the only other playoff team just below them at .964. So after another pitch that misses up high on Phillips, count now is 2-0, and Curtis Burns going to come out to have a conversation with his pitcher about what they want to do here. You got the first 2 outs pretty quickly. Of course, Kavanaugh getting picked off, and then Levens a grounder over to Neto. That's almost automatic. But you walk the last batter. That was the first walk of the day for Fitzpatrick, and trying to avoid putting his second straight batter on. And it was a peculiar situation for the Whitecaps last time these two teams faced off, as Phillips fouls one off. Last time we were at White House Field, Michael Prosecki started the game for the Whitecaps and was actually taken out of the game after just 3 batters with 2 walks. Tweaked something, and then that sent Hunter Owen into the game to pitch 3 1/3. But it's a tough time of the season, as it's now a 3-1 count here to Phillips, because pitching is just so valuable. But this is the part of the season where you lose it more and more with inning limits. You have guys who are maybe fatigued, they should be rested, or guys who unfortunately just happen to tweak things, and you have to bring guys in who are brand new. 3-1 count. Phillips skies this one up. Playable. Fitzpatrick settles underneath it and will make the catch. 4 up, 3 down. Brock Wilkin left stranded on first. We head now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Still a 0-0 game here from Stony Brook Field. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into Stony Brook Field here. Tim Foley, Colin Casey along with you for Game 1 of the Eastern Division Championship Series between the 1-seeded Brewster Whitecaps and the 2-seeded Harwich Mariners. This is not the first time these two teams have faced off in the playoffs. Last time was 7 years ago. Back in 2014, the Harwich Mariners getting the better of the Brewster Whitecaps 2-0 with the sweep. Ultimately lost to the eventual champions, the YD Red Sox, in the Eastern Division Championship Series. That was the first of YD's back-to-back-to-back title defense run. This ball choked up on by Curtis Byrne. Max Codier, pacing back into shallow center, is able to make the catch. 1 away.
And it feels weird to not have the YD Red Sox in the postseason this year. We're talking about 13 straight years going to the playoffs. First time that Scott Pickler's bunch has not made the CCBL postseason since 2008.
It really is something. That is an organization that knows how to draft a team and perform well. And to their credit, as this ball is hit on a line up the middle by Will Simpson, he'll stand on first safely with 1 away. And to the credit of the YD Red Sox, if not for the tightened playoff field this season, the Harwich Mariners would actually be facing off against these against those very YD Red Sox today over at White House Field. With Harwich being the 2 seed, YD would have been the 3 seed. So much to their credit, as Scott Pickler knows how to run a team over there at YD. New batter in the box for the Whitecaps, Trey Faltini. Faltini slotting in at second base today with the return of Zach Neto. He and Alex Freeland had been seeing a lot of the time over at short before Neto made his return after being released on July 20th. He was just signed days ago on August 3rd, Zach Neto, and is back in the lineup. It's a 1-1 count here to Faltini.
Okay, it could be a breath of fresh air for Faltini to move over to second base. Remember, last time these two teams played at Stony Brook Field, he had 3 errors in 1 inning alone. Luckily, his team was able to come back. Part of the reason was he drew the game-tying RBI walk.
Dombrowski checks on Simpson over at first. Yeah, certainly still somebody that Brewster wants to be a part of this lineup, to be a part of this team in the field. 1-1 count. Big swing and a miss from Faltini. He's behind now, 1-2.
That's part of the reason why you want him in the lineup. I mean, he's got incredible bat speed. He made contact with that. Who knows where it would have landed. He did have a home run against the Mariners at White House Field in that Brewster 11-7 defeat.
Wind blowing out to left field once again in favor of Faltini, a righty in the box. 1-2 pitch. That'll drop just below the knees right before the strike zone. Now 2-2.
Dombrowski's still looking for his first strikeout, which is crazy to think. First time through the order. He hasn't struck anyone out yet.
But again, he has been absolutely efficient here for the Mariners. I mean, so far, as that pitch is just going to miss, and the count's going to run full here on Faltini. That is just the, I believe, the 7th ball of his 2 1/3 innings pitched so far. He's thrown 29 pitches, 22 of which have been for strikes. Dombrowski looking to avoid walking his 3rd batter of the season. Big swing and a miss from Trey Faltini. Down he goes. That is strikeout number 1 on the day for Trey Dombrowski, and strikeout number 400 on the season for this Harwich Mariners pitching staff.
He reached back for something extra on that one. Got Faltini to go after that one up and away. We've seen Trey reach back and fire a fastball in there on these full counts to keep those batters guessing, and right there, a huge strikeout to get the momentum back on his side.
Strikeouts have been one of the hallmarks of this Harwich Mariners pitching staff, so it is interesting to see. Dombrowski goes all the way through the lineup, waits until the last batter to get his first strikeout. Now back to the top of the order here, Spencer Jones, who had a little chipped shot over to Zach Preisner at short. Check on Will Simpson standing over on first. Simpson, the only white cap to get on base today, had a hot shot up the middle. Dombrowski staring in, nods, and delivers. This ball hit. Zach Preisner cannot reach it with his outstretched glove. This will move Will Simpson up to second base, and Spencer Jones is on.
Boy, Preisner didn't miss that one by much. He made a heck of an effort in shallow center to get out there and leap after it, but just over his head. And now Brewster trying to see if they can get something going with 2 on and 2 away. We know the Mariners have struggled with runners in scoring position in this game. The Whitecaps have a great part of their lineup to do some damage.
And that is the other thing about Trey Dombrowski, is that he is not unhittable. He has given up 27 hits coming into today, now 29 on the season across his 31 and 2/3 innings pitched. Brock Wilken hits it, scoops up a ground ball over to third, picks it up and steps on the third base bag for the force out to record the out on Will Simpson. So runners do get on for the Whitecaps, but to no avail. It's still scoreless here from Stony Brook Field, Game 1 of the 2021 Cape Cod Baseball League Eastern Division Championship Series. We'll be back in just a moment. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube Network.